Chloe. I've never met Chloe before. I'm going to just do a couple exercises and see if I can just get her attention on me a little bit. Again, I'm Heidi McLaughlin. I'm from San Diego, California, and I'm a former fearful rider. I am not a horse trainer. I haven't won any buckles or ribbons, or I haven't done anything great except for I did get over my fear of horses, which I think is pretty awesome. So now what I've done is I became an author and a speaker and a clinician, and I go around the country and I help other people. I try to teach them my method. It is not hard. When you see how easy it is, you're going to go, oh, no wonder. I was stuck in fear for 8 years, and all I wanted was to be a confident writer and enjoy myself, and I wasn't. And so I'm going to help Samantha. Samantha, why don't you come on over here for a second? I don't really know this horse. I'd like to get this horse's attention on me a little bit. Samantha, have you had any formal training? Okay, so you haven't had any lessons. So, other than getting hurt, what are you afraid of? We all are afraid of getting hurt. What would you say you're afraid of? Everything? The reason I'm asking her that, she says I'm not in control. Okay, the reason I'm asking her that is actually very, very important for you to ask yourself. Getting hurt isn't enough. I want you to go deeper. When I teach people how to get over fear, I need you to define your fear. I need you to find out what it is you're afraid of. And at that moment when the fear comes up, ask yourself, what am I not prepared for? Because fear is actually your friend. It's a little mechanism in your brain that's telling you you're not prepared for the situation you're in. So therefore we know at that moment you're not good at whatever it is the horse is doing at that moment, something you're not prepared for, you're not good at, you're not proficient at, to keep you safe. That's what your brain's telling you. So one of the things, I appreciate Samantha coming out here. I mean, it's hard to be out here in front of all these people. She already has fear issues. She doesn't want to be hurt. But let's talk about the fact that she's had no formal training. I do not believe that you can be self-taught and not have fear in your horse racing. I absolutely never say you should be self-taught. Anything on this earth that you want to be good at is going to require you to have a coach, a teacher, a mentor, someone, a trainer, someone that's going to help you become better at this. Now, people say to me all the time, well, it's not that hard. You just, kick to go and pull back to stop. What could be so hard? Well, if that was the case, why are there so many horse accidents? Because we're not prepared. We pick this up and put it down like it's just yesterday's book. Oh, we can catch up on the last chapter. And if we're going to be good at this, we have to become proficient. Now, think about it as if you were taking a piano lesson. I had to take piano lessons from Mrs. Berlin. She lived across the street from me. I go to her house and I'll tell you, she knew if I practiced that week. So imagine, those of you who do have a trainer and you do pay for training, do you practice during the week? Do you practice away from your teacher? Because some of you don't, and there's two reasons why. One, you don't know what to practice, and two, you're afraid to practice without your trainer there. And so therefore, we do nothing. We hope that we'll miraculously get better by the next lesson. So one of the things I teach, and how my methods are different than others, is that I teach you one skill at a time. I want you to get good at one thing before you move on to the next. Make it become muscle memory, so you never have to think of that thing again. So then you build to the next skill, and the next skill, and the next skill. Well, one of the reasons Samantha is afraid is it's fear of the unknown. Other than death, that's the number one fear. People are afraid of the fear of unknown. And so she doesn't know what's going to happen to her. She doesn't know what she's in for. She just wants to be safe. But if she doesn't have proper horsemanship, how is that going to happen? Not miraculously. She may avoid an accident here and there, but it's not a matter of if she's going to get hurt, it's a matter of when, because she's not prepared for keeping herself safe if something does happen. We all know the minute we put our foot in the stirrup, there's an inherent risk, and we assume that risk. And it always floors me that we're willing to assume the risk of putting our lives in the hands of a 1,200-pound animal with a mind of his own, and he's a flight animal too. His DNA is to be afraid, and yet we want our horses to be brave for us, and it doesn't work that way. This horse is apparently very well trained, and I'd just like to get her attention on me real quick, if I can. Her eye is not on me yet. Her eye is not on me yet. I don't have her yet. Still don't have her. Still don't have her. You notice I don't have her. Now watch her inside ear. Now she's listening to me. See the inside ear? I don't have her yet. Okay, I still don't have her. She's distracted by the audience, which is fine. I expect her to be. But what I want her to do is know that she's safe with me. And watch the inside ear, the ear closest to me. As soon as that ear stops perking and actually cocks towards me, she's listening to me. Now I do this because I want to keep Samantha safe. There, did you see it? I got it for a second. There, I got it. Ooh. Look at that. That's a nice horse. Okay, so I want her to know she's safe with me. I want to be able to approach her and rub her and walk around her so that she knows I'm safe. She's safe with me. I'm not going to put a fearful rider on her unless this horse knows that I have her back. Oh. So I just like to kind of get her attention, rub her all over, let her know that, watch her, she's licking her lips. See her? She's licking her lips, and she's not quite as worried anymore. These are all things that 5 years ago I didn't know. And as long as I live and breathe, and I'm on this earth, I will never know enough. I have decided that I was actually thought 5 years ago I was an intermediate rider. And at that point I realized I didn't know anything. And now I feel like, gosh, am I an intermediate rider? I hope I am, because I still feel like a neophyte. The more I learn, the more I realize how much more I want to learn and need to know. It's like I never want to stop getting better at this. I feel like I am doing the horse a favor when I know I have this horse's back. This horse, when I get on him, goes, I don't have to worry about anything. We sour horses over and over and over by being afraid. Has any of you ever thought of the fact that you might be the reason your horse is spooked? Actually make your horse a spook, and we all know we dread the dreaded spook. Come on over, Samantha. And all I want you to do is mount. Can you get on the ground? See how your sides are not the middle? Just keep flicking until you get that side in the middle. It's very important that you all understand. The minute you feel out of balance to a horse, they then feel unsafe. Okay, have you ever had someone on your back? You remember when the old days we used to do chicken fights? And sometimes we get them in the pool or whatever. And the minute that person on your back got out of balance, you kind of were out of balance too. That's what it feels like. The saddle has got to be centered and you got to be in balance. So one of the first things I teach is I want you on this horse without reins. We hold the reins because we have a death grip, thinking that this false sense of security, if we hold the mouth real tight, we're somehow going to be safe. And that is not going to keep you from falling off. Grabbing the horn is not going to keep you from falling off. Your core strength and balance is what's going to keep you from falling off. But we don't work on it, so let me show you an exercise. Now, this is going to be a crash course. Mind you, this program that I have developed is a good year-long program. But I'm going to show you this in a crash course form so that you can understand how I come up with the method, how doable it is, how it's not scary, and you're going to do it one step at a time, and you start to watch your confidence just soar. It's very doable, but sometimes it just never even occurs to us. Now, I don't want her holding on to the saddle horn. I want you to keep your hands up as if you're holding reins, just like where would you hold your reins? That's all I want you to do. And I want you to get used to the fact of what it feels like just to walk around. Now, this may not seem like much if you've never done it. All of a sudden you realize I don't have that safety of those reins. And what I'm trying to teach you is those reins aren't going to keep you safe. They've got nothing to do with safety. But keeping your body rhythm, going with the rhythm of the horse, has everything to do with you staying on. So here is this woman who, I don't know, have you ever ridden without reins? Okay, but yet this is probably one of the most important exercises she could ever do. I am teaching her balance and core strength. Okay, now you've probably heard your teachers or your trainers say, you need a good seat. Do you know how to get a good seat? Let me tell you how to get a good seat. First thing is, she's going to have her shoulders and her hips square. She's going to suck her stomach in, and then, and then take your feet out of the stirrups. Now I want you to pull your knees up, both knees up. Just pull them up. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Okay, that's it. Now put them back in the stirrups. Now she's got her seat. Have you ever noticed? You ever been to a rodeo and you see the bronc riders, saddle bronc riders? First thing they're doing, they're always pulling their knees up. They're pulling their knees up together before they go out because they're getting their seat. This is a great exercise for you finding your seat. Another way to find your balance. So now what we have is her now she's got her right seat. She's not holding on with a death grip. She is using the rhythm of the horse to keep her balanced. Now I like to turn around. I want her to feel what it feels like. I'm asking her to suck her stomach in, keep her heels down, and use her balance to stay in rhythm with this horse. How many of you ever have done an exercise like this? It's super important. It really does help you with your core strength. Now, my program is, she is to do this, have someone help her, and do this for a week or 2 weeks, whatever it takes. In my case, I did it every day for 7 days, 20 minutes a day, until it was rote. I could feel if I had my seat right. It was commanded to muscle memory. I could feel that my heels were down. I could feel that I was in that saddle and I had balance. Do you think you can do this at a trot? Put your knees up again and try that. Really put yourself in that, and now put your feet back in the stirrups. You still need to push the saddle. So I really want you to feel like that. So first thing I had to do when I learned that something was not working with my training, as I realized my trainer kept saying to me every day, over and over, in every lesson, heels down, heels down, heels down, heels down. So I finally went, what if I just worked on keeping my heels down every day for 20 minutes, and 5 days later, I didn't have to think about it anymore. All of a sudden, I had broken a bad habit, I had established a good habit, and I was ready to build on that. Does that make sense? How many of you go to lessons and your trainer's going, heels down, relax your hands, keep your butt, all those things, don't look down, relax, and you're going like this all over the place, and you don't know when they say, good, right there, you think, good what? What am I doing good? You're kind of like sitting there going, they said I was doing good, doesn't feel any different than what I was just doing 5 minutes ago. Well, I'm going to teach you how you know that, because right now, so here's my crash course again. 5 days It might take you 10, it might take you 2 weeks. Every day you commit yourself to going out and work on nothing but heels down. Then the next week you work on nothing but this posture. Some people can do it both at once. Depends on how stuck you are in fear and how willing you are to go to the next step. I don't want you to push yourself because I don't want you to go on until you feel that you really have it down and you don't have to think about it. All right, so I'm going to try to ask this horse to go a little bit faster. I want you to keep your heels down and your stomach in. That's all I want you to think about is heels down, stomach in. Heels down, stomach in. Heels down, stomach in. Heels down, stomach in. Good job. Okay, so we saw a little faster. I even got her to turn a little bit. Want her to turn. See how I got her? See how that horse turned on her haunches? I wanted her to feel what that felt like. How many of you have been on a horse that spooks and turns real fast on their haunches? Exactly. You gotta learn to ride that out. The minute you grab onto the horn and try to hang on for dear life, what happens is you've now grabbed on and you are going against the rhythm of the horse. The minute you do that, you're off. That's why you have to learn to ride with the rhythm of the horse. So I asked the horse to move out a little bit. Different gaits, different feelings. Really just getting her to feel what it feels like to stay in the saddle with the rhythm of the horse. That's what's going to save you. Now, is there times where if you turn real fast and you feel like you're going to fall off the side? That's what this is for, to grab you and pull back in the saddle. But it's not supposed to be, and I see it all the time. People go into a trot, they go into a lope, and they immediately grab the saddle. Now they're going against the rhythm of the horse, and they're setting themselves up to fall off and get hurt, which is what we all don't want. But see how, if you can see how it is, we actually do this stuff to ourselves. We make ourselves fall off, we make our horse spook, and we are unsuccessful at the canter and at the trot because of the fact that we don't have our core strength and our balance. So we grab on immediately, trying to save ourselves. The horse feels your panic. The horse goes, in his mind, is like, I'm out of here. I have no leader. My instinct is to run from fear and go back to safety. He doesn't care about you anymore. He's trying to save himself. So if you think about it, we're going about this all wrong. We're trying to learn too much too fast. We're not learning it the right way. And we're putting our own self in danger every time we get on and try to do it another day, but incorrectly. What do they say? The definition of crazy is when you go out and do the same thing every day and expect a different result. Well, that was me for 8 years. 8 years. I went out every day and just prayed that I would be safe and prayed that it would go well. Now, how ludicrous is that? I'm not doing anything different, but that's all I did. Even if I had a good ride, I'd go, I didn't die today. But all I worry about is tomorrow. What about tomorrow? What if I die tomorrow? Oh, great way to enjoy your horse, right? But that's what we do. I just want to see her move a little more. Now, one of the reasons I'm not going to try to push Samantha to do a lot more is that she hasn't had a lot of training. I have people that come to me and they say, I said, what are you afraid of? I'm afraid to canter. Well, then that would be what I would work with that person for the day. But of course, I'm going to take them through this and say, do you even have any center core balance? I'm going to find out if they have bad habits. I'm going to find out where they're at in their horsemanship. With Samantha, somebody's told Samantha all you have to do is kick to go and pull back to stop. How hard is it? Well, it must be hard because she's terrified. And we know once you get into this, it's not easy. It's not easy. People say to me all the time, and if I'm hurting your feelings, I don't mean to. Remember, I'm a former fearful rider, so I was you. I know what this feels like. But people say to me all the time, when I was little, I rode bareback and I got thrown off all the time and I did this, that, and the other thing. And I never got hurt and I was never scared. Well, two things. Number one, you grew a brain. Number two, you weren't as good as you thought you were. Nobody really taught you that well when you were a child. They didn't teach you the ins and outs of horsemanship and how to stay safe. They didn't need to, you just off and went. And then, like me, I don't ride anymore. I go to college, I meet my husband, we get married, I have children. And then in my 40s, I decided I want to get back in horses. And all of a sudden I go, whoa, I don't remember it being this scary or this hard. What the heck is going on? And then I realized, I mean seriously, I took lesson after lesson after lesson. I had 6 or 7 trainers. Every one of them said, sell that horse and buy one of mine. Sell that saddle and buy this one. If I could have half that money back, I would be in a Caribbean cruise right now. But what I'm saying is I bought and sold 7 horses. I bought and sold all this different equipment. I took all these lessons. I kept thinking one more clinic, one more DVD, one more something, and I was going to get the magic potion of how to do this. But yet I never knew it right from the beginning. So what I say to you, are you willing to go back to basics? Because that's what it's going to take. You got to break bad habits and relearn good habits and do it correctly, but you're not ready to move on to the next step until all of this is rote. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's muscle memory. Her heels are never going to point again because she practiced it so long. Her proper posture is going to be perfect because she doesn't have to think about it anymore because she worked on it so much. She also is going to feel very, very comfortable in the saddle because for 2 weeks she did nothing but work like this. Somebody walked her around with this horse and she walked all around and she started to feel what it felt like to move with the horse. And then she's ready to go on. Now, like I said, it's a crash course. Imagine now, I always say to people, do you realize that you might have been the one that made your horse spook? It's a vicious cycle, isn't it? We are nervous, we get on our horse is nervous because we're nervous. By the way, we made him nervous because the last 2 years we've been nervous, so why would he expect anything else? So we have a fearful rider on a fearful horse who becomes then hypersensitive, and then the people say, I'm going to take him to the trainer because if he just had 30 more days and they could just make him not spook. Well, wouldn't that be nice? If that worked, we wouldn't have so many horse accidents. You have to learn how to handle the horse when he spooks, so therefore you don't dread it so much. So imagine that. Imagine if you were so good at how to handle your horse when he spooked, you never worried about it again. Okay, well, let's talk about that for a second. All right, so heels down, heels down, heels down. Don't grab onto that horn. Heels down, heels down. Heels down. Boom, Did you kick him, by the way? Oh. Easy, 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 easy. Boom. All right, oh, walk it in. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but she's sitting up on the cantle. Why are you all of a sudden afraid? Huh? She's sitting up on the cantle. I don't know if you noticed, she just changed. Good, you just changed where your butt was. She's not going to stay in the saddle, sitting up here on the cantle. Pick up your knees again. That's right. Put your feet back in the stirrups. Now look where she's sitting. Now we're going to watch this. All right, now, just all I want you to think is heels down, stomach in. Those are the 2 things you're going to think about. You can breathe, by the way. All right, stomach in, heels down. Now you're looking at the ground. That's right, look where you're going. Wow, you're having fun. Okay, let's stomach in, heels down. on in the saddle or goes on the mantle. Heels down, heels down, heels down, heels down, heels down, heels down. Heels down. Oh. Okay, I don't know if you noticed that was a huge improvement because last time she was flopping up on the cantle. She was up here flopping, 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 flopping.
That's saddle slipping. Saddle slipping.
Right. It doesn't fit the horse, but I wasn't going to go there. Would you go ahead and push it out here, right? Hard. All right. Now, the difference the last time, though, she wasn't grabbing so much for the horn because she was down in the saddle bed. Now, mind you, imagine if you did this 20 minutes a day for the next 2 weeks. You'd finally be good at it. You wouldn't be grabbing the horn. So, remember, I've only got 45 minutes with you. So, I'm good, but I'm not that good. Shh, quiet. Anyway, I'm going to try it one more time. I want you to have your heel. Go ahead and put your knees up. Get back in this. Really get your butt in there. Now put your feet back in the stirrup. Now all I want you to think of is stomach in and heels down. That's it. Stomach in and heels down. And you need to put your ears up and relax. I think this little mare's been used a lot today. Are you getting sick of this? All right. What I want you to do is just heels down, stomach in, and that's all we're going to think. Put your hands up where you would be holding the reins. That's it. Now let's go the other way. All right, heels down, stomach in. Your stomach is not in. That's it. That is it. I don't know if you noticed, she just went boom. I saw her hips go right under. Now imagine, this takes time. You got to remember, this is going to take time for her never to have to think about it. That means keeping your stomach in is huge to get your hips under where you want your seat. Oh. Wait a second. Were you holding on to the horn piece then? Oh. Okay, not bad. I don't want you to clap yet. I don't want the horse to spook and I don't want her nervous. We'll work on that in just a second. That was way better, and I don't know if you noticed, as soon as I said stomach in, she went from sitting on the camel here to under here. That's why when I say stomach in, that's where you're putting yourself in the saddle. Okay, so now she's learned, now imagine, like I said, this is a crash course. She's done a week of someone leading her around. Whether or not she can handle heels down and stomach in for the week, I don't know. Or she just needs to do one or the other. That's up to the person. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So what I want you to now think about is heels down, stomach in, again. But I don't want you to grab for the horn. I just want you to think, like pretend you're ice skating or something and there's nothing to grab onto. You just got to stay up. That's all I want you to think about. Okay, heels down, stomach in. This little mare has been used a lot today. She's been very sweet. Look at her, look at me. I don't want it. Okay, heels down, stomach in. In. There. Now your stomach's in. Don't look down. Stomach in. Stomach in. That's it. Now stomach in. Stomach in. Oh, sorry. That was great. I said whoa and that horse whoa. And she wasn't ready for the whoa. Thank you very much. I get so into this I can't even breathe. Anyway, that was actually very, very good. Now remember, we've been working for this like 10 minutes. Imagine if she's doing this every day for 20 minutes for a week. Pretty soon this is going to be no big deal. She's all of a sudden going to have great core strength. Her stomach's going to be in, her heels are going to be down, and she's going to be square, and she's not going to have to think about that anymore. Imagine how great that is. It's now going to muscle memory. It's now going to be rote, and then we're ready to teach her something else. Now, one of the things, if you notice, I said to her was not to look down. Also, I had a habit of staring at the horse's head. Why do we stare at the horse's head? Come on, you all know what. In case they spook, then you'll know in advance. So we watch the little ears and think, okay, he's ready to spook, and I'm gonna hang on real tight. Oh God, please don't kill me. And that's what we do. But imagine if we weren't always so hypersensitive and staring at the horse's head that we could actually just ride. Now, in itself, that exercise alone, and breaking the habit of looking down at the horse's head, is going to all of a sudden alleviate anxiety. So now, this is going to be about the third week for her. She's going to do nothing now but ride and think, I'm not looking at the ground or at the horse's head. This you can be with, you'll have a bridle by now. Anyway, so imagine you're just walking around, maybe trotting, on trail, in the arena, wherever you work, and you're going to not look at the horse's head, you're going to break the habit, and you're not going to look at the ground. Now, imagine this, you guys. This is very doable. I haven't made this a real scary thing. If you take it step by step, it's extremely doable. It's just that when we see it all in a big picture, it's very scary. We get confused and we don't know what we're doing. But if we learn it one step at a time, and we don't go on until we're good at that one thing, we can achieve this. It's very doable. Okay, so now we've broken the habit, supposedly, of looking at the horse's head and on the ground. Now, the next thing that the people are the most afraid of is the horse spooking. Now, what are we afraid of? We're afraid that we can't handle the horse when he spooks. Most horses do this when they spook, or they go to turn to run when they spook, or they'll jump to the side. That's about the three things you're going to get. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have to learn how to handle our horse at the spook so that we don't dread it so much. Now, how are we going to do that? By spooking the horse. I know it's scary, like you take off a hat, you go like this in front of a horse and you spook him and it's so scary and you think, oh my gosh, but what if you did it every day for 20 minutes? Until you thought, that wasn't so bad, I was able to stay on. By the way, I've got core strength, I've got my stomach in, I know how to have my feet, I know where my hands are supposed to be, because you've gotten to that point and you practiced it so much that you thought, oh, all my horse does is do this. In my case, my horse turns to run. What do you do in that case? You take your direct rein and you get him back to what he's looking at. You don't let him turn and run. Because that's when he turns and runs and goes, ah, and then you go, ah, and then everybody's off. But if he goes to turn and run and you grab that rein and pull him back to what he's afraid of and let him look at it for a second. Breathe, relax, it's not that big of a deal. Our reins are going all over and we go in the fetal position and next thing you know, a little spook turns into this huge accident. I know because I was you, I did it. So one of the things I had to learn, which is in my DVD, my 12-step program, excuse me, was rein management. You're riding along, you're holding on, something happens, you have to be able to slide down, grab, so that you can control that horse. This is another one of those exercises that you're going to work on every day for 20 minutes. I used to tie the reins on, you could tie it on the back of a chair, on the pipe corral, and you practice down, here. I mean, to the point where you're so good at it, you don't have to think about it, you can do it with your eyes closed. And you should. You should be practicing that. Okay, so you're doing it. Now you're to the point where you're ready to have someone spook your horse and do what we call desensitizing, but we don't desensitize the horse. We're desensitizing you. So you're not going to see like a big ball or a tarp or hanging noodles out on the trail. But you can work with those things to stimulate your horse in a setting like this in an arena and get good at it so that when it does happen out on the trail and you put your arms up and he flinches or something, then you're like, oh, I practiced that so much in the arena. I had him walk over. Imagine now, why would we have him walk over a tarp? We have them walk over a tarp because it's not something they really want to do. Some horses don't care. Some horses, what we're asking them to do is to trust us. So we give them one step and then we release the pressure. We give them one step, release the pressure, and then they go to 2 steps. So what we're asking is that when you're out on the trail and you're asking him to go down through a ravine or cross a river or whatever, that he trusts you that we can do this. But if you're standing there waiting for him to make a decision, he's going to decide it just doesn't matter. That's why we have to be the driver, not the passenger. And so, as scary as it sounds, in my clinics we do work on spooking the horse and actually learning how to handle our weight, our body, and our balance during the spook, so we know exactly how to handle it. So think about this with everything you do. If you're good at it, you won't dread it. You won't have the fear of the unknown. Fear begins where knowledge ends. So when fear comes up, ask yourself, what am I not prepared for today? What is it that I just did that scared me? Well, then that means I need to go back to the arena and work on this some more, because it got me. And I've had days like that where something happened, and oh boy, you know, like a bird jumped up or something, and I might have a little hiccup of fear. Now, did I let it go all in crazy and go back into the fetal position and, you know, lose my mind? No. But maybe I need to work on that a little more. So I'm a little nervous about working with her because she's such a green rider. I'll do it a little bit. I'll do it a little bit just so it kind of gives you an example. Like I did, I took my hat off and I did this to this horse and it doesn't even care. So this is not a spooky horse, so it may not be an easy thing. But what I would like you to do, I'm going to give you the signal and I want you to clap. And it might make the horse look up a little, but all I want her to do is exactly what she was doing before. Stomach in and heels down. And see that it's not so scary when you're working with the rhythm of the horse. So same kind of thing. Okay, now where is your seat? Oh, it's not bad. Okay, lift your knees up again. Great exercise, you guys, to find your seat. Now your seat is the 3 bones. You want to be sitting on both hip bones and your tailbone. That's your seat. Okay, so if you're sticking your butt out too far or you're all over down, that's wrong. Remember that in this exercise, and I got it from these brown riders, the reason they lift up both knees, you'll see them in the chute, is they want their seat. Okay? Now, all I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to clap lightly and go. I don't think I've ever had this happen. I do demos all over the country, and typically the horse does something. And I show the person, you lived through that. Now imagine if we did it more and more times and more times, and she thought, oh, well that's no big deal. Or I asked the horse to go sideways. And she thought, well that's no big deal. Or I'm backing the horse up. And she's going, I lived through that. And so you can see how the building of your knowledge and the building of your skill level, one step at a time, is preparing you for the things that may happen, but that now you're prepared for. Now when my horse spooks, I don't care. I've had people say to me, well, my horse gets really nervous when we get on a trail and we go out on, I take him out of the trailer, we're going on a trail ride. I can see why that would be scary because I was there once. Pull the horse out of the trailer, he looks around, he's sniffing, he's not familiar with the area, and he's uppity and anxious. We tie him to the side of the trailer and he's swinging his butt around, and then we get anxious. Now there's an art to this. I ignore that behavior. I don't even act like that horse is doing anything. That takes practice, like all of this. It takes practice. This is why I said, you can't just pick this up and take it, put it down, and just when you feel like it, and then hope you're going to live. If you really, really want to be a good rider and you want to be safe, you have to decide, I'm going to learn this now. Imagine if you decided you were gonna learn kickboxing, and you went to a couple lessons, and then you didn't go for a while, and your coach said, come on out for one of those tournaments. Well, you wouldn't be prepared. But you either decide you're going to take kickboxing and get good at it, or you don't. It's the same with your horsemanship. I always say to people when they tell me, well, I'm self-taught. And I watched a DVD once. And I think, well, would you want your doctor to do surgery on you after you watched the DVD? I mean, like, seriously, we're trying to keep ourselves safe here. And the thing we fear the most is getting hurt. But we won't give it the attention, the knowledge, the training that it takes to keep us safe. It's actually kind of ludicrous. I was there once, so I can say that. I can say with all certainty, it makes no sense the way we approach our horsemanship with such la-di-da type of a thought process when this animal can kill us. You know, would you tame a lion after you watched a DVD? No, you gotta get good at it. So, Samantha, you're going to start taking lessons. There's no more self-taught anything. Or don't ride. I don't want you to die. Okay, so this is kind of like I said, the crash course. I used to be terrified. I couldn't even pick up a horse's hoof. I was so terrified. And it took me 8 years to develop this method on my own. Nobody taught me this. I just thought, well, what if I just worked on one thing? And dang it, if it didn't work. And I was like, I'm on to something. I've got to share it with all of you. I want you to know how great it feels, not just to ride with confidence, but with joy. And not be dreading every single ride and wondering if I'm going to die today. It's no way to ride. It's no way to enjoy our horses, and it's not fair to our horses. They're looking for a leader. And you cannot expect your horse to be brave for you. That's irresponsible. Very irresponsible. So, what I want you to concentrate now on is one step at a time. Getting better and better and better, but one skill level at a time. Becoming confident in my horsemanship has changed my life. It's made me a more confident person. And it's made it so that I've been able to fly around the country and give lectures and do this. I mean, 5 years ago, I would have told you you were crazy. You know, if I was going to go around and stand in front of people and do demos like this. Are you kidding? I was terrified. How could I possibly ever turn into somebody that could help someone else? I want you to know it's possible and it can happen. And it will happen, but you have to give your horsemanship 100% of your attention and your goals, and you have to make it like an important part of your life. I've heard people say before, well, I only can ride on the weekends. Then don't ride, at least until you're good, because you're gonna get hurt. So if you want to do this, I don't care if you have to flip on the lights. Right now it's springtime. This is the perfect time to start this. You can work on it every single day for 5 days, and next week add another skill, add another skill. By the time it starts snowing again, you've really gone a long way. I don't know, I know there's like covered arenas and stuff. I don't know, I'm from California, I don't know how you people do it. Anyway, I would like to let you know that I am absolutely honored to be here. The Horse Council of Indiana is very kind to have me come here so I can share this method with you. I have a booth right down here, and I have DVDs and books, and of course these handy dandy little purses that I make. And if you would like to come and talk to me some more, if you're interested in hosting a clinic, whatever, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help you. I even give phone consultations. I want to do whatever I can to help you. So thank you for coming today, and it is very good. What's happened to this woman? What's your name? Lori. What's happened to Lori is very, very common. What happens is the horse is so tired of you scaring him that he decides he doesn't want anything to do with you.